Good day, viewers. Walter here. Do a little bit of vlog today. It is a cold, well, not cold, chilly, 51 degrees right now. I went to Lowe's today. I want to do some experiment with a couple different TV antennas. I wanted to get a piece of 2-inch vinyl, corner molding, corner board, whatever you call it. They didn't have any 2-inch vinyl. They had some 4-inch stuff and some 1-inch stuff. But this is the size I wanted, so I just bought wood. Here's some 1/8-inch steel rod. I looked at 1/8-inch brass rod, which would have been much better. But they're only about this long, the brass ones. You can only get 2 whiskers for the antenna out of that for $9 a piece, which was, well, right at $10. A little expensive. Now my homemade antenna I'm using there now is made out of clothes hangers, which is nothing but some cheap grade steel. This is a better grade of steel rod here, 1/8-inch rod. And I'm just going to do a little experimenting to make my whiskers. This is 36 inches, so I can get at least 3 whiskers out of each one. There's 3 of them there I bought. It's hard to pick up with no fingernails. Now this is not a how-to video, but I am going to show you the process of me making one. There's lots of videos out there on YouTube that will show you the basics to make a homemade antenna, and I'm not claiming I know all there is to know about antennas. I do know a considerable amount about antennas. I used to make my own CB antennas, and the principle is the same. An antenna is an antenna. Basically, let me explain. Say the radio waves, you know what a radio wave looks like waves in an ocean. So one wavelength is the distance from the crest of this wave to this crest over here. One full loop, or whatever you call it. A low frequency like CB radios that I used to be in, I ain't got the figures right here in my head, I just got the principle in mind. Like 37 feet or something like that, which in theory, you could make an antenna 37 feet long, which would be a full wavelength for that frequency. Now higher frequencies, the waves are faster. Like you see on an oscilloscope. If you know what an oscilloscope is, you can see the waves, the pattern for the wave on an oscilloscope. And it would be much shorter. Well, an antenna, these whiskers of an antenna, well, not really whiskers, elements, have to match the length of the radio wave. Well, you can't stick up a wire 37 feet, although some ham radio operators will do that. They go like stretch a wire from that tree over to that tree over there, and they'd be transmitting signals all the way to the moon. Well, some genius figured out that you can use part of a wavelength, like a quarter wavelength or a half wavelength. Back when we were doing CBs, a quarter of a wavelength was 102 inches, I believe it was, that was the length on a steel whip I used to put on the back of my car. But the principle is that element has to fit within a fraction of that wavelength to receive the signal. In other words, the signal might be going through your antenna, but if it don't match up on the other end, it's not going to register on your receiver. So TV antenna, for example, elements are about this long. I don't know what wavelength it is. But the basic principle, that's the way antennas work. I used to take 2/4 wavelength antennas and like run 102 for the negative side of where the coax hooked up, and the positive side, the center coil of your coax to the other 102. So that's like a half wavelength. I had a big antenna on the roof of this house. It was 5/8 wave, I believe. I don't remember now. It had big old long elements. When you see there's different kinds of antennas. Yeah, I know I'm boring the snot out of you right now. Some antennas are omnidirectional. It'll go either direction. It just kind of receives or transmits in any direction. However, when you do that, you can't receive or transmit as far away as you would in a direct line. So if you had a beam antenna that's casting it straight out, you'd get a much bigger signal. But then that's why they put a rotator on an antenna, where you can rotate the antenna around to get the best signal. So I'm going to be playing around with this antenna idea. Now you can't really solder without a torch. You could braze it, these steel rods, but I don't have a torch. I might do a little experiment with my wire welder and weld these whiskers to a wire. I might even use copper wire for part of it. The antenna that I got inside works very well, but I want to try to hook an antenna on the outside of the house and see if it won't function pretty good. So that's probably what I'll do in the next video or an upcoming video. I gotta get ready to go to the dump today, and I've talked enough about antennas to bore you to death. I'm just gonna leave these out there for right now. Haven't done my critter cams lately. Some of the neighbors have been talking about wild hogs coming in here and rooting and tearing everything up. I haven't seen any down this way, but a man up the road's been shooting them. I'm sure my deer still come around at night, but I haven't been feeding them. Y'all want to go to the dump with me? Let's go to the dump. Maybe something exciting will happen on the way. But I'll be doing an upcoming video on producing antennas. But we'll do it down in the shop in the basement and maybe talk about random things if you might want to tune in to see what I try. Sometimes my projects don't come out so good, and sometimes they work just fine. Alright friends, we're going to the dump. It's been a couple days since I put that new battery in here. Let's listen, see if it's got power. The other day when I turned the key, it was dead as a duck. Here we go. Plenty of turnover power now. Maybe it's me and maybe it's my imagination. No, it ain't my imagination, it's a fact. They designed everything where you got to replace it. I don't know what you call that principle. Take tires, for example. You know, if they can put a tread on a tire that'll last 50,000 miles, they can put it twice as thick and make it go 100,000 miles. They could put rubber that doesn't wear out quite as fast. Everything is designed with a flaw in it. Your car is going to wear out in 4 years. You got to go buy a new car. Anyway, a car battery. Why does a battery only last 2 or 3 years? Well, I know the basic construction of how a battery's constructed. It's little thin lead plates with different cells that conduct the electricity through there, and it'll work until the lead or whatever makes it work wears out. They can design a battery that would last a lot longer than they do. It's all a big game about making money off the public. If you design a product that won't never wear out, you wouldn't be in business very long. basically started out making computers that would last practically forever, but now they get them designed where you got to go every couple of years and get a new computer. They got us by the little tootsies that got a pair of channel lock pliers holding on to my toe, and they won't let go. Internet service. We give them just a minimum number of internet service to get them hooked on that stuff, and then we'll jack up the price. They want better internet service, they're going to pay for it. Except out here where I'm in the country, they don't even have it available to me. AT&T has got the worst internet service in the world out here in my part of the country. They might be good in other places. It's starting to rain on me today. This year for Christmas, you know, we'll often have a turkey or a ham. Better half, and I went and bought big old 1-inch thick sirloin steaks. We're going to have them for dinner. Probably go up to my daughter's house and eat dinner. Let my son-in-law cook them. Take the steaks with me when we go. We went to a butcher shop this morning and bought them over at McDonald's. T&T meats or whatever. Some good looking steaks. I think I'm going to get rain on my head here pretty quick. It drops all over the windshield now. Hope everybody's got everything ready for Santa Claus.